Come down here and take a look.
What's the FiO2 won't go past 85?
No, the FiO, the SAT is not, it won't go past 85. They put it to 100%, but it's not, the SAT's not going past 85%.
And you said they gave them the 100%?
Yeah, they gave them 100%. So it was in the low 80s. They gave them 100%, it went up to like 85, but it won't go past 85.
Won't go past 85.
So now it's back to 40% and the patient's dropping into the 70s.
Okay. Let's see, so oxygenation issue? Or that's,
Yeah.
without drawing an ABG. So
Yeah,
oxygenation.
you're assuming, yeah. I concur.
So we would do, the ventilation, it's respiratory rate, total volume, so, raise the FiO2 to.
Okay, so we go to 100% on the FiO2, right? We've been giving them, we've been
Oh,
giving.
you said it's on 100.
We've been giving them 100% and it brings them up to 85.
Okay.
But after 2 minutes, right, it'll go
Got
back to
it.
the 40%. So
Oh,
now we're just gonna turn it to 100%.
Okay.
So he's
that's-
at 85, but you can't get him past 85 on 100%.
Let's do 10 of, or let's go to 8 of P.
Okay, so 8 of peak, oxygenation's still not coming up, and actually we're dropping, so we're like 81, 80, 79. Nurse is like, hey, we just repositioned the patient, and, can't get his stats up.
And we suction down.
Yeah, so you listen, he's a little bit coarse, you suction, you got a little bit out, not much. Vent's not alarming. He's still saying 79, 78. Lips are turning blue. Fingers are turning blue.
Okay, maybe take him off the vent, put him on a bag valve mask, see if the
Okay.
problem's with
Let's do
the
it.
mask or with the patient or the vent.
Okay, go ahead.
His ACL, stent, everything. You should just get checked out.
Stand by on this one.
So the vent, the standby on the vent, yeah, not right there, don't take that off. Standby, so you wanna put the vent on standby?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
I don't know.
Below. Yeah. Yes. Okay, now go ahead and start bagging. Nope, not there.
And here?
Yeah, where would you bag the patient? Right, you took him off the vent,
Right. I keep, because these
so
test lines
this would
over
come off,
there.
that would come
Yeah.
off, right?
Yeah. And that's assuming that one.
So what's gonna go here?
The collimetry.
So PEEP valve,
Yeah.
right?
So he doesn't lose the piece.
Right. So is there resistance?
Okay, so it doesn't feel too hard to bag. You're, after a couple minutes of bagging, your sats come up, you're back in the 90s.
Okay. We put them back on the vent, but the issues with the vent.
Not necessarily.
No?
Yeah, not
Okay,
necessarily.
got
So, I mean, if you were getting a bunch of alarms on the vent,
Okay.
and then you bag them, it was super easy to bag, then
Yeah.
you might be like, okay, something's wrong with the vent. But
Yeah.
you'll have patients that desat, and it'll be a positional issue, right? So, fluid shift or secretions shift, and then they just desat, and you
Mhm.
have to bag them up. So, you're gonna forget this after today, but more tidal volume will help with your oxygenation also. If somebody's getting a really low tidal volume, giving them more tidal volume is gonna open their lungs up more, and you'll.
And that's without knowing their height or weight or anything.
Right, so, I mean, when you squeeze this bag,
Yeah.
what tidal volume are you giving? Yeah, I don't know. How much pressure are you giving?
I
I
don't know.
don't know, right? So, I'm just, I'm bagging the patient, right? Like, they're desatting, so I might be aggressive, right? It's like,
Yeah.
let's get them up, right?
Okay.
Like, okay, now we're getting our oxygenation up, like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, like, let's try them back on the vent, right? Put them back on the vent. Okay, they do okay for a couple minutes. Nope, they're starting to desat again. I mean, this might go on for an hour or more, right? It's like, oh, man, I just cannot get their sats up. You end up in the room for hours,
Yeah.
bagging them, trying them back on the vent. Oh, it's not working. Bagging them
So you
again,
just bagged them.
right? You're just, you'll have patients that just, you'll be in there constantly bagging them, and they're in bad shape, obviously. This is just what you have to do.
Yeah.
So if your patient is desatting and you try a couple things to fix it and you can't fix it, bag them. Right? This is, don't ever leave home without it, right? It's like this, I know I'm ventilating them with this, right? They're getting 100% from the wall. I'm squeezing this thing, I'm ventilating them, getting chest rise, I hear breath sounds, like they're being ventilated, right? They're being oxygenated, okay? So you go on a transport with this patient, you better bring this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Better bring this, and you know what else you better bring?
The mouse.
The mask. Because this guy pulls his tube out, I ain't trying to do mouth to mouth, right? I don't want to. So if I'm in the elevator with this guy and he pulls the tube out and he needs to be ventilated and I don't have that,
Blow by.
not gonna work, right? It's like, oh God, I gotta put my mouth on his mouth. Are you serious right now?
Yeah, no, don't do it.
Don't want to do it, right? But if you don't do it and this guy
They're gonna
dies,
die, it's on-
whose fault is that? Who should have brought their supplies, right? It's like, I don't want that to happen either. So just bring your supplies. These are your two best friends, right? So what we usually do is there's O2 tubing that comes off of this, right? So once you intubate this person, this guy tends to get lost because we're no longer using this. We don't need this.
Or
So
we
you-
don't think we need it.
Yeah, you don't think you need it, right? So we're gonna take the O2 tubing, guide it through here, right? So now this thing is just sitting on here and it's kind of in place. So when we need it, we just take it off of the O2 tubing and we have it available. Okay, but if you just set this on your vent, on the bedside table, it ends up getting knocked off onto the ground, then somebody will just throw it away. Oh, it's on the ground, let's just throw it away. And now when you need it, you don't have it. So part of your vent check, which isn't on here, part of your vent check is probably gonna include, is there an AMBOOM bag and a mask in the room? So that's just your cue to look, make sure, okay, I have my supplies that I need just in case, right? So, never leave home without it.
And don't take for granted that it's there. Even if you just came in a few hours ago,
Right.
don't take for granted that it's there. Always check and make
Yeah.
sure it's there.
Because what's gonna happen is, this patient needs to be bagged, right? So the nurse goes to bag the patient, and they're like, there's no bag in the room. And then they're gonna look and say, well, Rachel's been charting all shit, but there's an AMBU bag in the room. So who do you think they're gonna, who's gonna get written up for that? Right?
Yeah. That's
So that goes for everything, right? It's like a lot of people will, the alarms, right? They're like, oh, the alarms don't change, so they just chart the alarms that the last person charted. Okay, so, the horror story I always remember hearing was it was a home health situation where the RT went in, did a vent check, charted the alarms, they left, patient stopped breathing and died during the night, and when they came back, they saw that the respiratory rate alarm had been turned off. Well, this vent has a memory in it, so any change you make to this vent can be diagnosed, right? They can go back in there and diagnose the vent and say,
You
or
did it.
interrogate, not diagnose, they can interrogate the vent and say, well, the respiratory rate alarm was turned off at 4 p.m. 2 days ago, but you've been charting it the last 2 days that it was on, and then the patient stopped breathing and died because the alarm was off and nobody knew it. And who do you think that's gonna come back on, right?
Yeah.
So, just do yourself
your
a
vent check.
favor and don't take shortcuts. It's such a little, it literally takes you 30 seconds to get your alarm settings, right? And that 30 seconds cost somebody their license because they didn't take that extra 30 seconds to get their alarms. So,
That's perfect.
yeah, don't take shortcuts, especially when it comes to this stuff, right? It's like, never gonna work out well for you. Okay? Good job, Arthur. Solid work.